Let's.
Could we just have an answer to the question?
I can handle Mr. Seda. Let's have it.
She asked about a personal relationship.
She asked when the romantic relationship ended. That's the question.
It's sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe men, this is what you're really asking about. This is the salaciousness of all of this, right?
No, I'm just asking about your romantic relationship, when you stopped dating.
I think that me and Mr. Wade, so he's a man, he probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in August. So that men in relationships at the end of physical intimacy, women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
And where, when did he come to, I guess the condo, I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment, would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo, so I'm trying to use those terms.
So but there's been more see, what you don't understand is because of this case, I got to move. And so I need to...
If you could ask a more precise question.
Yes, please, give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth, Judge. And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Right. Ms. Willis?
You see.
Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Thanks. Be back in 5.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So here, that indignation that we just saw, that messaging of authority is gone. Now she's turning softer. Now she goes into an emotional eye accessing, and her eyes, when I say internal focus, you watch a person's focus, what they're looking at. Doesn't matter where their eyes go. When their eyes stop focusing on something external, their brain is functioning. They're going through some kind of internal conversation. I don't care where their eyes are. If I look and stare off in the distance, it's 1,000-yard stare that veterans get because they're thinking about something else. Then her eyes almost jump up like shock when she's asked another question she doesn't feel comfortable with. I think when she does this is when it's something that's hard to talk about for her. I don't think it's necessarily deceptive. I think it's comforting because there's something that she's feeling uncomfortable talking about. But she's navigating this conversation with emotional accessing, whether it's downright or you can see that she's working on which words to say. She's back to, I want to be clear. She's back to her pattern when she's locking down a fact. I want to be clear, not we need to be clear. She braces her hands on her face, tilts her head, and closes her eyes again so I can see she's fed up. Her voice starts to quiver again, that you lied right there. I think the core of what we're seeing, forget all the politics, forget what's going on. If this were a case about a dog biting a kid, you would think, why is this interchange going the way it is? This woman is angry, and DA, President, King, laundry person, garbage man, anybody is going to get angry about certain things. And I think we see angry and fed up in her. And when she says, you lied right there, her voice quivers. And then there's a genuine look in her face of, I've had enough. And if you don't believe it, now I'm going to quote Mark. Here comes the passion plane. You see her hands come up in the passion plane and her cadence shift. And her cadence, voice, body language, and all that are there. This is a lie. Looks believable. Mark, what do you see?
Yeah, I agree. That is demonstrative at that point. I mean, she clearly says it's a lie. The bureaucracy, the judge, has no appetite for that being said in the court and dissolves it, not dissolves it there and then, but certainly says, let's take a break on that. So it's all getting wildly out of hand, I think, at this point. To your point, Greg, like, I don't care who you are, get you under enough stress. Doesn't matter how you got in that grand position that you're in, get you under enough stress and you'll start leaking all kinds of stuff. She's already told us secrets or, intimate health secrets of the boyfriend. She's now leaking personal opinion around men and women and what she feels is the categorical difference between them. We get disgust and anger on men as well. I don't know whether that's about a particular man or men in general or her idea of men and how they perform and how women perform under relationships. But whatever it is, it's not a really good optic for her. It just doesn't really look very good to display those kind of negative emotions around one category over the other category. So, I would say it's all breaking down pretty quick at this point. Chase, what do you got on this one?
I have to agree. And Greg, I love that you brought up, if you could just imagine watching all of these behaviors about something erroneous, about something that's not related to politics, about somebody that has an overdue library book. And just that's how I tend to watch all these videos, just as if it was about an overdue library book. And that's kind of actually what I tell myself when I'm watching these. But at this question of when did the romantic relationship end, there's disgust on her face when she's mentioning the date very specifically. And her answers are still very ambiguous and vague. She openly addresses the salaciousness, I think she says, of all this. This is something I personally would expect someone to do with zero legal training, who decides to represent themselves in some kind of trial or cross-examination there. I would never, I've trained a lot of attorneys. I've never seen an attorney that would do something like this. So it's just unusual. And maybe that goes to the level of stress. I know she's under a lot of stress. Her life's being torn apart. I can't imagine how stressful that is. And she says, I would say we had a tough conversation in August. I didn't answer the question. Then there's mouth covering, which we sometimes associate with deception, but then we see blink rate go up. How often we blink is a stress indicator. And she then lectures us about men and women instead of answering the question, which was not about men and women, but it was about her, not men and women. And during this debate about the condo versus the apartment, this is the most, I was embarrassed watching this. Like my empathy watching this, I felt embarrassed watching it. It's just avoidance, misdirection, and what I call microscoping. When somebody zooms into an irrelevant detail to redirect somebody's focus. And she's saying, here's what I heard in this. Here is her answers to all of this statement. She says, what condo, what apartment? But there's been more than. See, you don't understand. I gotta move. When? She says when, not where, when. So let's be clear. There's not a single answer in any of this. There's no answer. So it's hard to analyze for deception because there is no answer. There's no answer at all. So I have a hard time believing a lot of this. Just it's so much redirection. There's nothing substantive here. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And Mark, also, when she starts talking about men, we're seeing contempt there as well. So if you look on the left side of her face, then you'll see that it goes up just a little bit right there, not a whole lot. So, and I can't decide if she's mad at him or men in general. I would assume it's him, but I don't know. It's a relationship, so who knows? But there are quite a few negative emotions that flash across her face as she goes through this. We see anger, disgust, scorn, contempt. Her limbic system is still wide awake. That thing is on because she's angry. And like I said before, she chose fight in this. So she's like you were talking about, Greg, she's adapting with her finger on her chin. And this is she's in her baseline now for this questioning. That's where she's sitting most of the time. That's the place she goes to for that. I guess trying to get some psychological comfort from all the psychological discomfort going on. And then actually, after she explains her view of men and women breaking up, she practically puts her finger in her mouth. She has it up here, and it's so far pushed in that it's almost in her mouth. And we connect those as when you put your finger to your mouth, that sends a signal to your brain to relax. So that's another signal for me to know this is a really high stress situation for her. Obviously, it would be she's angry and she knows everybody's looking at her and she's still trying to fight her way out of this. And like you were saying, Chase, there's no answer there, man. She's just talking about all kinds of different things at this point. Then she attempts another chaff and redirect as she gets worked up. And it didn't work. This one didn't work either. She just keeps getting so mad. The judge finally says, hang on, everybody, we need a 5-minute break with this. And it's just, and I agree with you, Chase. I felt empathetic for her as well, because, man, when she looks back on this and goes, holy smokes, I did all this wearing a backwards dress.
Let's.
Could we just have an answer to the question?
I can handle Mr. Sato. Let's have it.
She asked about a personal relationship.
She asked when the romantic relationship ended. That's the question.
It's sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe men, this is what you're really asking about. This is the salaciousness of all of this, right?
No, I'm just asking about your romantic relationship, when you stopped dating.
I think that me and Mr. Wade, so he's a man, he probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in August. And so that men in relationships at the end of physical intimacy, women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
And where, when did he come to, I guess, the condo? I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment. Would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo, so I'm trying to use those terms.
So but there's been more see, what you don't understand is because of this case, I got to move. And so I need
If you could ask a more precise question.
Yes, please, give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
All right, Ms. Willis.
You see.
Mr. Sato, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.